right. So another thing I learned today is pi is never ending. It's one of those infinite numbers that it's going to continue to keep growing. So if numbers are continuing to grow, then that means like our possibilities growing as well. Some deep stuff we talking about right here, man.
Yeah.
And we're good?
Okay, we're good. We're great. All right. Got my man Josh with me. Hold on. First off,
Yo.
respect. Got my man Josh with me. It's been a minute.
It's been a long time.
Known this man for about a decade now.
Yeah, it's definitely been a decade now. 2014.
Yeah, went to college together.
Yes, 2014. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, man.
That's when we had 2014 Forest Hills Drive. We'll never, ever not like that album. I don't care how many other albums come or rappers. That album was crazy. It was dear to my heart. I'm from Fayetteville, by the way.
Okay, Fayetteville, not down, 26.
910, 26, and we in the building, baby. Okay, so, but, I like that album because I literally grew up 5 minutes down the street from 2014 Forest Hills Drive, which is crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I love that fun fact. So I won't give out my address because my aunt still stay there. But it's if you Google it, it is literally, I'll just give you guys Helen Street. If you Google Helen Street in Fayetteville, North Carolina, you will find 2014 Forest Hills Drive. It's like literally. And so my street was horizontal. His was vertical to mine.
Word.
So I'm going to be infinitely tied to that album.
Okay.
Bars. Let me stop.
Yo, this nigga. Okay.
We talking about stuff before the show. Go ahead.
You want to play Connect 4?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, quick game.
Yeah. Barely can see this, but I'm going to try.
Seriously. Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead. Bet. Let's do it. Oh, my fault. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. See what you got going.
Hell no.
Oh yeah, I do.
None of
I know
that.
exactly what's going on. You can't steal from a thief.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. The game is just about over now. You got one more move.
One more move.
Possibly two.
Just one. Just one.
Yes, sir. Best of three.
Oh, okay. Dang. Okay, he got me both ways. I see that.
Pause. Best of three?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, that was a warm-up round. I ain't played Connect 4 in like 4 years, probably. Maybe longer.
Yeah, My goal is to play everybody and beat them at least 10 times.
Oh, that's your magic number is 10, man. That's all you want. You're first?
You first?
Make it, take it. Ain't that what they say?
Guess first,
Appreciate that. Well, thank you, sir. See if I can break his mathematic code that he be doing. He over there doing Pythagorean theorem numbers, I bet, y'all. To my calculation. That's another good move right there.
Let's not get carried away. Uh-oh. Got him. We got him running now.
Oh, hell nah. You trying to cheat? Why you giving me the yellow ones, man? You trying to throw me off?
This nigga's crazy.
Hell, bro. I'll get a yellow piece on my side. Uh-oh. Just like Jaws. Dunna, 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 dunna.
Thank you for that.
Dang. Good game, man.
What do they say? GG.
That's what they do for real when they play ball now?
So what are some of the things you wanted to... you said there were some things you wanted to talk about.
Yes. Oh, man, I've been waiting for this moment. Okay, so, I'm light-skinned, but, The reason being is because my mother is African American of descent, but my father is from Mexico, so I'm mixed breed. And what I wanted to talk about
Did
is
you just refer to yourself as a mixed breed?
mixed breed. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a multiracial, biracial, multi-ethnic. Is that more proper?
No. I just wanted to know.
Just
wanted to make sure.
Pups say, they say, it's a mixed breed. This is a French poodle, or not a Frenchy poodle, or like a pit lab mix. That ain't no purebred. It's mixed. But I guess the reason I brought up the whole race thing is because this whole Drake versus Kendrick beef is one of the things I wanted to talk about. Like, it's really crazy that, they call Drake a colonizer. And I'm like, if we go back to maybe 100 to 200 years from now, previously in history, the one drop rule was even if you had just one drop of black blood in your blood, you were considered, the N-word, a black person, especially a slave. So it's like, for them to say that about Drake, it's like, I know what it's like to come from that standpoint of, you're not fully black. Or when I go and try and talk to Hispanic people, you're not really fully Hispanic because you don't really speak Spanish the way we do and talk the way we do and move the way we do. So it's like, that's really not fair to that person because they didn't choose to be a race. That's just what they were born as. So I'm like, he is still black. He's not a colonizer. I mean, that's literally black on black crime if you really want to be honest. Even if he does have a white mother, he is still technically black and has a lineage to the black community and ethnicity. So why should we do that and say, nah, he a colonizer, he this, he that, he not like us, he not like us? Yes, he is. That's our brother, technically. I mean, if you want to be real, and if we go into the biblical sense, we call ourselves brothers and sisters. Are we really truly brothers and sisters, or are we connected by our higher being in relationship with God? So the same thing is with our African American community. Just because he is half white does not mean he is not just as much black. And I more so connect to my African American side than my Hispanic side because I don't really know that community. So like all I knew is growing up around black people, black heritage, the black community, and loving my black mother. And I love my mom more than anybody on this world because she was a strong black woman. And so the black mother especially has a deep, true like groundedness in me. So I'll stop there, but that's just what I wanted to mention about the Drake Kendrick beef because it's really whack. It's not that cool. I hated it.
Well, damn,
it's a lot.
Wow.
Just wanted that to be known. Everybody always like, yo, why your last name Lopez? And I hate that. I really do. Because I'm like, bruh, I don't even look that Hispanic. I mean, I know I kind of do, but I don't look that Hispanic. Yeah, like I'm walking around here looking like El DeBarge or something, bro, with the wave cap on. Not a wave cap, but the wavy hair or something, man, and the little.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The suit from what Scarface suit on, and I don't look like them people, man. I'm peanut butter, which means I'm light skinned. That's what I'm saying. Even my complexion. Go ahead.
You consider yourself light skinned?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not light. I mean, I'm lighter than him, right?
I mean,
okay. Well, I'm living in Arizona, so this is technically a tan, y'all.
Oh, okay,
really
okay, yeah. Because I'm light skinned.
I'm like,
I think like Steph Curry is light skinned.
There's levels to it, but I'm of a lighter skin tone.
You're moving towards the direction. Maybe you do live in Arizona.
I'm not brown. I'm not like brown. Like I'm a lighter brown. You know how you got like that nude color? Like nude, the color nude?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got that, like, which is an in-between of like a bronze, like light brown. So it's like I ain't like light, like I ain't peach. Steph Curry is peach.
Oh, that
he looks like a light. Like, of course, he literally almost white. I mean, he a shade away. Like he like 5%. You know, you got 10. It's 5%.
That's
10%.
That's how I feel about Clay.
Clay is hella light skinned.
Yeah,
that boy look like a pinball. I just saw him. He the ghost that stole Christmas. Like he is low key white. Both them boys is. But yeah, I do consider myself light skinned. You're not gonna take away I was called light skinned all my life, so I'm not gonna lose my light skin card. You don't like you? Would you consider? Okay, what would you consider yourself then?
Brown. I think there's shades of brown. I would consider you brown skinned. You know what I'm saying?
Dang, I I got the brown skin card on the
Yeah,
show. That's cool. I'll take brown skin.
I would consider you a lighter tone of brown, before I consider you light skinned.
That's true. I guess it depends on. It's like an oxymoron. I think it depends on how the person looks at it, the perspective.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It's the perspective.
Yeah. Because
light skin can be considered, oh, you just like low key white, or it could be like, oh, that go to light skinned people. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is it depends on the community, the crowd, your geography, like where you live. So if in Atlanta, it may be a different way than it is in North Carolina. I know for me in North Carolina, it was like, yo, if you was not dark, it was like just basically dark skin versus people that were lighter skinned. So it was basically, we could have said, yo, you lighter skinned instead of like you light skinned. So I was really called light skinned. Like, oh yeah, they go to them light skinned. I'm like, oh dang, well, yes I am.
okay.
And I just ran with it. I just been called light skinned my whole life. So when he said that, I was like, dang, okay, I guess I'm not. But maybe it's because of the part of North Carolina I grew up in, and there's people over to this side and the darker people over to that side. It's what it is.
Well, I want to know what else you want to talk about, because you said you had topics.
Yeah, plenty of topics. Okay, so I think I want to get on the God subject. I had a conversation actually last night with somebody, and he was telling me like, yo, I grew up Christian. My family is Christian. I believe there is a higher power, but I struggle with God because I feel like there's so many questions that I don't have answers for. So he was like, man, they say that we're supposed to call him Jesus, but I heard that's not really his name. I heard his name is Yeshua. And he was like, talking about just some of these questions. And I was like, man, for a person that has such like a strong relationship with God, I don't judge people that do question him, because I think if we didn't have questions, it wouldn't show that we care. So
I like that. I really like that. Wow.
I appreciate that, man. So if we didn't have questions, we wouldn't care. Dudes, when they're in relationships, they'd be like, man, why she always asking me all these damn questions, man? Like, hey, she get on my nerves. Because she really care about you, man. She really like want to be around you. She want to learn about you. She want to get to know you. Or like, where you been at? You been out all night. Because she was caring about where you are. She want to make sure you're safe. She want to like check in. She miss you maybe. There's a lot of reasons why she's asking you where you are or where you been. It's not to get on your nerves. Anyway, another subject.
No, wait.
Go ahead.
Can we stay on this?
Yes, I would love to. I got plenty of topics.
I like that approach, man, because I feel like sometimes I have a lot of questions for God, and I think I've reached a point where I don't always necessarily want an answer. But sometimes I'll just ask like, why? You know what I'm saying? Or like. And when I ask why, I think and of course God knows, but I think it's subconsciously me just looking for like, looking to like place my hope in the fact that whatever's going on, even if it's something that's inconceivably bad, in my mind, I think I'm looking, when I say God, like, why is this happening? Like, what the, It's like, I think I'm just looking for God really to reassure me in my heart that, man, even if you don't understand this right now, it's going to be okay. Are you a Christian?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Okay. It's so interesting, man, because I went to church for the first time in like about 8.5 years.
Okay.
About a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, because you know me, man. I used to be super into the church, so much that, joined the little cult, got kicked out, whatever. And then and then was kind of just removed.
Yeah.
And I'm in this place, man. Honestly, I'd like to talk to you about this.
Sure. Let's do it.
I think sometimes I almost feel this guilt because I don't know if I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I fully believe 100% that the Jesus story is literal. Like I rock with so many parts of Jesus. At this stage of my life right now, I don't know if I look at Jesus as like a savior, because I don't know if I believe that everything happened like they said it did. But it's wild because Jesus, I look at Jesus like a muse. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, if I could live my life like anybody, like conceptually, it'd be Jesus. Smart, witty,
yes,
in tune with God.
very
real
peaceful,
nigga.
peaceable, like likable relative.
Yeah.
He was like the best celebrity that's ever gonna walk on this earth. People loved him. Like,
People hate him too.
yeah, they hated him too. But like,
yeah,
yo, man, you actually, I think you touching on some really good points, and that's what I'm saying. I love God, and I have a very secure relationship. I, broadcast myself or express myself to be a Christian. So just because of my faith and my relationship with God would never make me like disown you or treat you different or judge you because you have questions about God. Why would that? Makes no sense. It's like somebody that has a degree, and maybe I study, let's say mathematical quantifications, and then they like, yo, man, why'd you get that degree? Well, it's like, they interested to know why you chose to study and have been so devoted to a certain subject or certain theology or a phenomenon is the word I was looking for. I had to stumble upon it. So a phenomenon, that's really what these degrees are. And so that piece of it, we just are so glued to, and just like, well, I like to learn about the infinite amount of ways that numbers can operate and live on and be condensed and expounded. And numbers just have so many different possibilities. So I knew for me, when I was a numbers guy, when I first started school, man, like I said, numbers don't talk. Numbers don't get an attitude. Numbers don't disrespect you. Numbers don't kill. So I was like, I love numbers. I can work with numbers all day. I can just manipulate them all day and not have to deal with somebody up here like, tired of you, like give you an attitude all the time. And it's like, yo, like, can you just keep your negative energy over there? I could much rather just work with these numbers and talk to them, but they not talk back, like a therapy session. It's like a therapy session work with numbers for me. I do it every day. So, but yeah, okay, back to the point. So I got on a tangent, but I was saying that I could never be a person that truly values and have such a deep connection, devotion to God, and then just be like, oh yeah, this man got questions. He don't really. Nah, that's not the case. Just because you got a question doesn't mean that you don't think it's real or believe in it. You just maybe you are wondering, because I think for us it's like our inability to imagine or connect because we've never seen somebody crucified. So if you don't know the story of Jesus, Jesus was crucified, which means that people put nails in through his hands to make him hold onto a wooden cross, and they put nails into his feet, and he hung there and died. So I think it's so malicious, or just so like, what's the word? Just something that we can't imagine happening.
Heinous.
Yeah, it's just like, this is crazy. How could someone do something like this? Or I can't even imagine that happening. It's so graphic. That's what PTSD is. It's such a like deep thing that when you do get experience to it, like you can't unexperience, like you can't not believe it. So I think our belief really is truly a strong faith, because wow, we can't even fathom like how much God loves us and why he would do that. And if that really did happen, like, man, I really gotta live devoted because he did so much for me. And so it's just like our ancestors. Think about this. I know I'm half Hispanic and half black, but I still have a deep connection with my African American side. But from a slavery standpoint, can you imagine somebody hanging by a rope from their neck? You probably can't even imagine it. Because the neck is probably going to be broken. We have bones here, so it's probably going to break the bones and the nerves. So their neck is more than likely going to be halfway sideways. Might be something coming out of their mouth, their nose, might be bleeding from their eyes from the pressure of the blood being, not circulating. It's a very graphic view. So if we can't imagine what ancestors went through when they were talking about this in our history books, that's a correlation to also the suffering and the persecution Christ went through. So that's why I'm like, if we talk about infinite numbers, Christ is repeating himself throughout history. We have slavery, we have the Holocaust, we've got, Vietnam Wars. We've got so much division where people are literally being persecuted and killed for some things that they don't even really want to go through. They just have to. But because they did that, now we can be alive and free. See how it keeps. I heard this in history class. History repeats itself. So because God did this, he keeps allowing it to be true and keep experiencing in the world, like every day we see stuff. It's repeating itself to show that like this is real. I'm keep giving you proof that I'm alive and well. You can Google, there's a rock in Israel to further prove that God is real and some of the stuff that we believe in the Bible, where I saw it on a post that you can see where water had came from a rock. And we know water does not come from rocks. Normally it comes from another source, and then it may fall through a waterfall on some rocks, but it's not coming out of it. There's a location in Israel. If you Google, it's about Moses where he hit a rock. Google it. It's a story because he got angry with the children of Israel in the, I think it's Genesis or Exodus, somewhere around there in the Bible, the beginning part, that he got upset because they were praying for rain, praying for to be able to have water. It was a drought. And they hit the rock because Moses got frustrated. God didn't answer. He said, I was going to do it if the people believe and have faith. And because of that, now the rock cracked open and water came out of it. And they were able to have nutrients for themselves, hydrate themselves is the word I was looking for. So it's like you can still see that in history today, and it's still there where you can see where a rock is cracked and the land is it has more moisture to it compared to the drier part where the rock is. So you can see some of this stuff. I wish we knew where the Garden of Eden, so we could really truly believe. That would be dope. Like we could say this is where it used to be. Like, you know how they got the cutouts of the towers, RIP, our respect to the people that lost somebody during that time. Not to disrespect it, but yeah, you can see like this actually happened in history. It wasn't just something people made up. Here are two carvings where two buildings were that were deconstructed through an airplane crash and people died. We can go back to that moment in history and not necessarily live through that moment, but you can. Our existence in being allows us to be able to connect to things. So I'm always trying to connect to something. So the first time I went to Mexico, since I don't know my Mexican side, was emotional. I was with my ex, we went on a cruise, and I wasn't even on the land yet. But the fact that I knew that I was coming up to Mexico and I had like a connection to a different side of my being, like really just got to me emotionally. I'm in tune with my emotions to know like, man, this is crazy because I've always wondered about this heritage, how these people experience life, and now I'm actually able to experience something that is a part of me. It's crazy, or like think about it when you see a picture of you as a baby, like you can kind of connect to how your mom looked at you. It's like, dang, they be like, oh, y'all baby was so cute. And then you see that picture, you're like, dang, I was cute. Look at me right there, man. I got my little curly hair and I'm in swaddling clothes, as they say. I'm swaddled up, so that's how you're able to kind of connect with your history. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not going on too much of a tangent.
No.
Yeah. I said a mouthful though, man. We want to circle back on anything. I know you say you had some questions about like Jesus and God, and you don't know if you really, so we can kind of go back to that piece of it.
Well, yeah, I think that's like, I know how I feel about God. I'm telling you,
This is water, by the way, guys. If you're wondering, I know people wonder what's in the cup.
I hear you.
It's really good.
I think that's what Jesus turned water into.
That's good, man.
I think it's like I know how I feel about God, but I know how I feel about my relationship with God. Yeah. I know how I feel about the concept of Jesus. I know how I feel about the four Gospels. I know how I feel about the story. And I connect with it. I just don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if I because you knew me at the time of my life where I took that on and I fully believed it.
Yeah.
And
100%.
So I don't know. Who knows? You never know.
So what? I guess now the interviewee can become the interviewer. Nice. What about it do you question the most? Is it because it's not something you can prove or have tangible access to believe into, or is it because maybe the way the person that represented that group or cult or organization or church, is it that stain of the person that has a connection to why you don't believe?
I think initially it was definitely the latter.
Okay.
Okay. That last point there. I don't know if that was 2 or 3 points, but it was definitely that last point.
Definitely.
But
I understand.
More so now, it's when I read scripture entirely, I just see a lot of allegory. I see a lot of similarities.
Ambiguity. Is that the word, ambiguity?
You can go with that. I see a lot of similarities between that and some mythical tales from around that time that weren't necessarily religious.
Okay.
I see some astrology in there, and so I, it's just, it's hard for me to fathom this Jesus story being entirely 100% literal, because I do think that there are like, my refrigerator is open. I do think that there are like,
Gotta get that, y'all.
it's okay.
Okay, he says okay. We'll keep going.
I do think that there are truths in it, like literal truths in it. I just don't know if I believe like that necessarily these miracles really took place. Though, like literally, like as they said they did. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know if a man died for my sins. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. You know, and I appreciate people like you who don't be like, oh, how could you not? You know, it's because
Judgment.
Well, for one, because I was that nigga once, which is crazy. You know, so I appreciate you not reciprocating what I once put out.
Yeah. Yep.
But
that's called apologetics, which is defending your faith. So people go straight into defending the reason why they believe something. But the reason why I try to, my like approach to apologetics or defending my faith is from not a defensive stance, but an offense. And I know there's a correlation between people saying the best defense makes an offense. That's another point. But I'm just saying from an offense standpoint, because it's like I don't have to defend something that I believe. I already believe it.
And that right
See
there.
Like you're not gonna change my belief because you don't believe. That's just you.
And
whatever.
That's
ain't hurting me. It's like, you know, I have this ideology. I have be true to you on my chest from my mom who told me that. And I got to that point of love me or hate me. You know what I'm saying? And then I heard this rapper, shout out to, you know, if you watching, you know, because this is a famous show, but Lil Russell, man, he said this in a song. He was like, love me or hate me is self-reflective. So how you feel about me is probably how you feel about yourself. Because, you know, if, you know, it's easy for you to hate others, there must be something that you hate about yourself. Hurt people is the saying. So it's like, yo, if I'm like out here bitter and mad all the time at somebody, it's probably because I'm bitter and mad about something I can't change, something about myself, or something I might be frustrated with that I cannot, as I said before, change or get out of. So it's self-reflective. And so if I ever want, you know, people to know who I am besides my faith, it's like I want people to always know that I treated them the same way with equality. And I ain't got to get into all this slavery stuff. I'm just saying from a place of that they consistently can say, at my funeral, because we all gonna die. It's just how life goes, the beginning and the end. But, you know, when that day does come, I want people to always kind of say the similar story. I want people to be like, oh, you knew him as a nice guy? He was actually mean to me. Or you know him as a funny guy? He was actually boring to me. I want everybody to say the same kind of story consistently, because that should not change me as who you are. How I treat you is how I want me to be treated and how I feel about me. So that's what I feel about faith. It's like, whatever you say about God, it's not going to change. Now, it may let me think about it and I can understand. I have empathy for people, you know, sometimes. So they'd be like, you know, I don't understand God. I heard it one time somebody said, if God really was real, why would he allow me to go through this sickness and suffering? And she was like, it was actually a student of mine, so I won't talk about the school where I taught at. I was a graduate student when I got my master's degree. And appreciate that. So I got my master's degree, and she was saying, like, if God really was real, why would he allow me to have this like disease? I think it was like some kind of like cell disease or something where she loses blood, faints easily, and she has an issue pretty much like staying awake, or like, you know, basically she just has a lot of different issues health-wise. And when she said that, at first I kind of was like, dang, like that's crazy. How could you say something like that? But then when I thought about her health issue, she's in pain. So she's probably, I think she talked about, so we had to give speech. I was teaching a speech class, which was on public speaking. And one of the things is you got to give a speech about yourself. And so it's a self-evaluation, self-reflective speech or whatever. So basically you're talking about your life. And that was one of the things she said. And she was talking about her family, kind of was there, but kind of wasn't. Her dad and mom didn't work out. So you've just come from a place of hurt. More than likely her family hasn't been supporting her through this health thing because they're in shambles. Not to talk about her, but I'm just saying when the relationship at home and home isn't a good quality, And then you got other stuff added onto it. It's just a never ending cycle of you just feeling so hopeless and hurt and like just abandoned that you don't feel that anybody loves you. So now you can and that's why I asked him this question earlier, y'all, about like, was it a person that made you feel like you don't believe, or is it something else? Because sometimes there's church hurt that people talk about in church, where it's like they go to church, they love God, but they've been hurt so much by pastors, ushers, people that go to the church, deacons that have treated them improperly. And now because of that, they are putting that onto God. It's like, well, if my parents don't, if the pastor don't, if my friends don't, if everybody I know that's a Christian don't really, treat me this way, then how can God, who we serve and love and have faith in, be this way too? All these people that love God ain't treating me right, so I might as well not be around God's people or him.
Yeah.
So now you're almost like personifying it onto God, like you're making him into a person, and like
yeah, that was well put. Yes,
his people are this way, so he's this way too.
Exactly, and I think for me personally, it was that way. And the irony is, what really kept me away from even attending just a service for so long, almost a decade, was the fact that I was one of those people, one of God's quote unquote God's people out here judging people. And so for me, my mind was like kind of super warped, because I'm just like, I almost had this stance of like, all right, when I devoted my life to Christianity, I became so wrapped up that I became a Pharisee. I became a nigga that would have killed Jesus. That's the crazy part. So, yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's a deep story. I like that.
So once after the cult and everything, like once I like broke away from anything that I just associated with God at the time, you know what I'm saying? It's weird because the church hurt was like, it's almost like being in prison for being a murderer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then being like a reflective person. So then it's like, how could you trust yourself? So then when I got back, so now here we are 8 years later, and I'm at this point where I think I'm so cautious. This is so nice to talk about. Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, my brother.
I think I'm at this point now when it comes to God that it's like, all right, I trust God. I trust me and God.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I can feel my spirit pulling me, not towards necessarily joining a church or anything, or getting back into necessarily any religion, even though I know that like Christianity holds a big piece in my life. You know what I'm saying? The good parts. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say the good parts, I mean like
people,
yeah,
how you think
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I say all that to say I'm in this space right now where church hurt is a real thing, and I think at first I didn't want to believe it, but then when I went to that service about a month ago, and I was sitting there, and I just had so many thoughts. Yeah. You know, I don't know. It's interesting. So I really pray that that I can just find like a balance in all this, because I think for somebody like me who can be an extremist, you can see with the art, you can see with the tattoos, you can, sir. Yeah.
No, man, you really hitting on some good points, man. That's why I was laughing, because I was like, man, I've been there before, especially when you said like going back to a service and that being an impactful event. Because I know when I started, I can relate to you. That's why I don't judge people about how they feel in their faith, because I've been there before where I questioned God at one point, and my relationship wasn't that strong. It was actually during my UNCG days. So we went to school together at the school. I just mentioned UNCG. And it was like, man, during that time, seeing like the offerings, I just really did not I still to this day don't like how they do money in the church. Cause I'm like, yo, I would see my mom, I'm the youngest of 3 kids, so I have 2 older siblings. And just seeing like how my mom would pay her tithes and offerings to church. And then the pastor has a tailored, brand new suit on, driving a Mercedes. Wife got a Mercedes. He got a BMW. She got a Mercedes. And they got this huge, nice mansion in the city. And me and my mom, my family is here struggling, on welfare, getting food stamps. and like just going through a struggle, and this man living great. And I'm like, that's so backwards. Like, I feel like if God wanted us to like kind of like my student said, if God was really real, why is he letting us suffer and letting this pastor be so like, prosperous and blessed and got all these things and we struggling? Like, I remember going and getting like, the food stamps from the store and being ashamed, all those kind of things. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy, man. And she giving her money, and I'm like, yo, why is she doing that? We should be keeping this money for ourselves. And not from a selfish standpoint, but I just hated that, man. Like, I know what it's like to have talking shoes, where I had to wear old shoes. Me and my brother would like have to share them. So I'm bringing up just the point and touching on this is because like I've had a question about God. I've like really just been like, man, I don't understand how God could like let me go through all this. And I've been so devoted to him and just really just watching how much suffering and sacrifices happen that I was like, man, I don't know if I believe in this. There's just too much. Like, it's too many requirements, too many rules. Like, I feel like I can't live. And I really just was like, whatever. I didn't go to church. I wasn't paying no tithes and no offerings and none of that stuff. I wasn't. He didn't even know I smoked. So I started smoking, and just different things like that where like I was like, all right, I might just do me tattoos. So growing up in church, it's a shame to get tattoos. When I grew up, you was going to hell. That's what I would say. They would say to us, like, you're going to hell if you get tattoos. You're going to hell if you get your ears pierced. Both of mine is pierced. You're going to hell if you cuss, if you, do something wrong, drink, smoke, sex before marriage. All that stuff was you going to hell. And I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to go. Because even when I'm doing everything right, I'm still suffering. So I might as well just go ahead and get it out. Whatever. I'm just going to go to hell.
Yeah. That's
whatever.
The point I hit.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, whatever. And so going through all that and then still coming out of it and God still loving me is like, it's crazy. Cause like I hear from God, you know what I'm saying? That's another thing like that we prove that God is real. So prophetic prophecies, somebody ever said like, God told me something about you. That's real, yo. Cause if I don't know, like, let's say I ain't know him and then God told me like to tell him, yo, you missing something in your life. And I don't know what it is, but like God showed me that there's something that you're supposed to like go after that you haven't found in years. And you need to, really go after that and don't let yourself put limits on yourself. And it's probably something that happened in your childhood. So you probably should like really, just figure out what that is. And God said, it's okay to be upset at what happened to you in your childhood. And then he'd be like, dang, how'd you know all that? Because God told them that. So they don't have the mental capacity. And it's actually, I like this pastor I used to go to church with in St. Louis that preached. He said, there's actually a study that's been shown that when people, it's something called speaking in tongues, other tongues, their brain is not operating in a normal capacity. So it's showing that they have a higher like mental capacity when they're doing that. No medication, no like drug, nothing can really make our brains operate when we're doing that. And they just did a study. I guess they like put something up to test their brain functions and patterns. And it was something that was off the charts. Like it wasn't normal thinking. And that's a scripture that says, I'm paraphrasing here, but it says that, when we speak in tongues, like we are, aren't on man's like pretty much thinking pattern, which is crazy. Another thing I wanted to point on real quick that you said, man, I got a lot of points on this. This is a great discussion. I appreciate you too as well for bringing this up, man.
Of course.
But he talked about how he struggled with just believing that Jesus and like God dying is the only way, or like just how it happened. And like, that's everything. He's really like touching on something that I've thought about for a while, yo. So you're not wrong in like questioning this. I've questioned the same thing. So I've had a ton of questions. It's like Hindus, they have a God for everything. They got like the God of wisdom. They got like the God of love. There's the God of war, the God of intimacy, I think it is. So there's like a God for everything. It's like different ones. If you Google like Hinduism, one of the first pictures that's going to come up is like a blue person, like all these different dudes. And it's like, dang, all these are different gods. And so I'm like, if they believe so strongly that there's a God for everything that they have to like pray to or talk to and think to, and it's only one for this Christian thing, it's like, dang, are we really getting it right? Or like, are we messing it up? Muslims, they kind of have like, they believe in Allah and they have the Korah and the I can't think of the other ones that they read. Not the Quran. Is it the Quran or something like that?
Quran.
Quran. My bad, y'all. So yeah, so it's like, man, like they have their way of looking at God. You know, there's atheists. There's so many different. You know, there's now the Scientology religion. So it's like, but to his point though, he brought up something we were talking about earlier, and I talked about this too, about just the different ways that history repeats itself. If you look at it, to his point, a lot of the stories are very similar. So like, look at Mormons. Mormons believe in Jesus. They have the Mormon Bible. They believe in Satan, the devil, Lucifer, and they believe in there's a God. So it's very similar to Christianity if you look at that. So they have God, which is like the all-knowing, all-powerful source that we come from. And they have Jesus, who is supposed to be, just like Christians believe, this person that did good and went around and doing good. And they also believe in Lucifer. But in their story of the Bible, Lucifer is Jesus' brother.
Really?
Yes. So you can Google this. I've not studied their language, but their religion, but I just look into the history and like what they're talking about. Because I'm interested to know, why do you believe this? Because I know what I believe, so I need to understand why you believe to see if there's any similarities, like you said. So I looked at it and I was like, yo, Jesus is Lucifer's brother. And they believe like Lucifer, like just, you know, went the wrong way, and Jesus is trying to like pretty much save him essentially, like from like going the wrong way and doing wrong. And so it's like, dang, like Jesus and God and Lucifer are brothers. I could never imagine that, because like Lucifer is polar opposites. And then just seeing like Hinduism and certain other religions where they have Buddhism, where they just have like this different source that they kind of pray to. And I think this is done often in church, where they will say, well, you can pray to chakra, or you can pray to, you know, Buddha, you could pray to Socrates, or whoever it is you want to pray to, but only our God answers. And that's a really true point. And I hate to be cliche like some of these people that preach and teach in the church, but it's like, it's so true. I know when I pray from a Christian standpoint that I do hear from God. And even if I don't hear like audibly, like you think it's like, oh, my son Joshua, like not like that. It's like, I know that this is not me talking, because something that one of the guys that I've, like a spiritual mentor to me, said is like, when you are praying and God is talking to you, it sounds like you. We think that God is like this Mufasa. You deliberately disobeyed me, Mufasa. Like, no, that's not how God talks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but when I hear God talk, like I hear my voice. Sometimes I hear God cursing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I've said that before, and I know some people, like I've had somebody say, or a few people say, "Oh, God wouldn't curse." I'm like, this is the same God. This is the same God that will flood the earth. The same God that said He invented, well, He created good and evil. I'm like, I don't think. And maybe this is okay. Well, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So do you? Because you made a statement. So do you think the Christian monotheistic God is the only God that speaks to people? Like you don't think Hindus hear from their gods, or Muslims hear from Allah?
I personally don't believe that they do. Now, the reason I say that is because I've seen like how people have talked about they feel something, but I feel like, how can I say this? There's something called a placebo effect. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
The placebo effect. Okay, so let's say Brandon has a bottle of alcohol that has actual alcohol in it. Percentages on there, it's like 51%, whatever. It's very strong. And then I get a non-alcoholic beer, and I'm drinking it, and he's over here like all wavy, like, oh my God, I'm so drunk. Then I'm like, because I think that I'm going through or I'm feeling the same thing he's feeling, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm drunk too, bro. I'm fucked up. Like, you gonna feel that way because there's something in your mind that connects to, you're trying to, it's almost like a connection you're trying to do. You're trying, like when people say manifest, you're trying to, like, from your inner self, like your spirit, because we have spirits, they're trying to like grab onto that. And that's why they say in the church that sex is such a dangerous thing because it's like that's you kind of like connecting yourself to another person from your inner being. It's not just like a physical thing. So that's the same thing. Like we can do it without even having the intimacy of like sex. We can do it with like a drug. Like they literally have done tests and studies with the placebo effect where they give the people and they'll do different people so that they know it's not just one group. They'll do like a group of these 5 people and then another group and test them each with non-alcohol and alcoholic beverages or pills that actually have medicine in it and sugar pills. And the people with the sugar pills felt like they like, oh my God, I feel 100% less painful. And the people that had pills, the actual pain pill with medicine in it was like, I mean, I feel 5% better. Actually, this is trash. I need 2 more. You know what I'm saying? Like they like, oh, I don't feel nothing. But those people over there that don't even have something that they really think they have are more believing in it, thinking that they really getting the real deal. And the reason why I'm saying that, to bring that back full circle, this is about to hit real different and hard for y'all, is that you can think that you feeling something that you're not really feeling. So if you think that you are a Hindu, no offense, no disrespect, hear me when I say this. You think that you're talking to your Hinduism God and your Muslim God or whatever you believe, but you may be more than likely hearing from the ultimate source and you're just putting a different label on it. Like for instance, going back to the Drake thing, they want to say that like people take over a certain genre of music when it originated from black people, country music. We saw with the movie The Harder They Fall on Netflix, where we learned about black cowboys. So more than likely that tells me that black people were doing that as a cowboy before the whites. So now it's looked at as country music and being a cowboy is a white person thing, not to be racist, but to just say, we think that's a white person thing, but it's really originated from blacks. Blues started in like St. Louis in the Memphis area and it's like populated its way around the world, coming from the black community. But you don't see as many blues black people loving that. We're more so R&B and hip hop, pop, some people like pop that's black. So I'm just saying, we think these things have originated from a certain group and like, oh yeah, that's white people music. No, that's actually black people music too. But you just think that just because that's what's been personified as, or like now that's a collective that like that certain group, that's just a white religion, or that's just a white part of town, or oh, only white people drink wine, or only white people do this. And it's like, actually, black people were doing that first. Like, okay, real quick, this is real dope. My aunt told me she was like, she's in her 60s, 70s almost. She said when she was growing up, Skechers were actually the it shoe. She was like, yo, Skechers, if you had a pair of Skechers, you was rich. I was like, what? I was looking at her like, Skechers? What the hell? I ain't wearing no Skechers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was looking at her like, well, this is like maybe mid 2000s or so. So everything was like Air Forces and, certain things like that, Jordans, which it still is, but mostly Jordans now. So, but back then she was telling me that and I could not fathom. If my mom would have ever bought me a pair of Skechers, I would have threw them away. Now I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry. Well, we got to take these back or something.
Damn.
I'm just saying, no offense. Damn. No offense. I mean, I like them now. His is kind of dope, because people don't really care as much. Anyway, let's get back on the subject. So the subject is, she was saying that Skechers were like the rich people shoe or the white person shoe because mostly white people were rich. And she said if you had Chuck Taylors, you were poor. So if you growing up in this time, maybe 70s or 80s, well, nah, it's probably 70s more so, or 60s. Yeah, you weren't rich unless you had a shoe that's now being devalued and associated with poor people, which was once rich. And so it shows us that just because the association or like the way society is presenting it to us looks different now, does not mean that that's like the truth. People can just throw their own like personification on it and make it something different. And so maybe, who knows, these people may have copyrighted or like are taking parts of the Bible and like Christianity and making it into what they believe it is. How do we not know that?
So here's my question.
Go ahead. Let's get into it.
Could not the Hindu what time is it? What time is it? Oh God.
Yeah. He has to be at work at 4, y'all.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, hold on.
Last question.
The last question. Yeah, because this doesn't even require an answer. This is a good last hypothetical rhetorical.
We'll have to do a part 2, y'all. I'm gonna come back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, to your point of the placebo effect, and people, whether or not they hear from their gods or not, could not the Hindu say the same thing about the Christian? You know,
Glad you said that, man.
because hear me out, because I was thinking about this today. I was walking, and I'm like, at the end of the day, it's called belief and faith because nobody knows, you know, and so like, I think that point alone is what sometimes keeps me from going all in on one religion, because I feel like personally, and this could change. You know, we evolve. Right now, I'm in this state of like, God is so grand and vast that like, I think every religion gets some of it right. I don't know, because it's just when we say the word believe, like that means you have to believe. That means that you don't know, you know, and I think that's one of the most fun parts about planet Earth.
Yeah. The experience part of it. Oh, this going back full circle. Experiential.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. 100%. Hey, I 100% agree with you.
Because to the experiential point,
yeah.
Let's say we talk to someone who has passed away, someone who was Muslim, the love of their life, and they experienced 80 years on Earth. Maybe they grew up Muslim, you know, and became a devout Muslim or whatever. Who's to say that in their time, you know, if they impacted lives positively, if they had a positive impact on Earth, who's to say that Allah did not speak to them and lead them, you know, from their experiential experience?
Yeah. Nah, that's so dope, man. I'm glad you said that, because that's something I think about too. I'm like, man, I heard it on like, I think it was The Simpsons or one of them like cartoon shows, and they were like, man, the Christians got it right, because I think the person in the show, I can't remember who it was, went to heaven or was like with God, and he was like, oh, the Christians got it right. Then it like Jesus popped up, and then like a Muslim, I think, person popped up and like, oh, well, the Muslims got it right, or oh, this group got it right, and they all were just there, and it kind of just shows like God loves everybody. So regardless of what we believe, I feel like we all should mostly, because it really should be painted from this picture, even from a Christian standpoint, that hell and like damnation is not meant for anybody. Like if we say that God, whatever source you believe, really loves you, would you ever throw away your family? Would you ever throw away your like distant cousin, even though you don't like them? But you would feel bad knowing like, yo, I'm throwing away my blood. Like I'm throwing away like my kin. Like that's my cousin. And even though they not like perfect, I still love them. I still like want them to be around me. Like even I got cousins to this day. We don't really talk like that since we were younger. But even if they were to come around right now, I still would want to talk to them. I'm not gonna shun them just because they don't talk to me now or like, we're not as close. Hey, come on, bro. Let's go get something to eat. Let's go chop it up. Let's go sit down and have something to eat and like talk, like catch up. Because that's still my blood. That's still my family, and I still like have a sense of love, even though it's not like as strong as maybe my actual siblings or my close cousins and my parents. It's more so like, yo, you still are connected to me. Your mom is my mom's sister. So I gotta like have some type of love for you because of that connection we have. So that's why I'm like, I don't judge nobody. You, anybody, whatever you believe, however you feel, that's you. And like, I feel like if we just try to be the best, somebody asked me like a balance between what you believe and living as a person, because we have lives outside of our religious beliefs and our political beliefs, whatever our belief is, because you said that point, belief, then there's more to life than that. So outside of that, I'm more than just a Christian. Like I'm a person too.
True.
So it's like, I'm just trying to be the best me. We play club ball. Brandon will tell you some of the people that we play ball with. I may not have been the best basketball player out there. I know where near will say that ever. But he had this tennis ball exercise he had us go through for like handles. And I told him, I was like, yo, I'm about to go get me a tennis ball because the competitiveness in me made me want to be the best, like made me like strive for that. Just being the best version of me. I may not be the best basketball player, but I gave it my best. I may not be the best at math, but I gave it my best. So my 78 may look lower than your 98 in math or your 100 or your A or A plus or whatever it is. But I know I did the best I could and I gave it my all. And I can sleep at night knowing that I got a 78 and did the best I could versus somebody that gave up, didn't really care, and, you know, was like, F it, you know, I'm just going to do whatever, knowing I did my best. Hey, at the end of the day, so I'm just saying in life, just do your best. And that's all you can really do. You know, you can't really control your perfection, like, or know like how your life is going to end. You just got to do the best you can, be the best version of yourself, you know, love yourself. That's the most important thing. And everything outside of that, who cares? Life goes on. Like, life is too short to be sitting here worried about. Had to encourage this dude yesterday about, like, you know, life be lifing. But just because life is lifing doesn't mean you got to sit here and like let something so minuscule or finite bother you to the point that you are like taken away from yourself. We get too far into the weeds of life.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up weeds because I feel like the mustard seed
yes
is a concept that is like that reigns true over a lot of things, good faith and bad things. Because like you said, like I know that is one of my, I can admit to the camera, to the internet, that is probably one of my biggest struggles is, well, let me not say biggest struggles. That's one of my biggest challenges in life is not allowing something minuscule, something the size of a mustard seed, a problem the size of a mustard seed grow into a mustard tree of problems. Amen.
Yeah, you preaching, bro.
But a lot of it all starts with the approach.
Yep.
You know, and the mental approach, and just kind of like what I was saying way earlier, of just like knowing that, okay, even if this is viewed as negative, how can I find the hope in this? How can I find all right, this is so that this will be this way in the future. You know, if I can find a hope, I'll be straight.
Yo, man, you preached. That was a whole mouthful. We can just end it right. Mic drop on that one.
Jesus. But yeah, well, that's a good ending point.
What did I say? Mic drop?
No, you said that's a whole mouthful.
Oh, dang! I didn't even hear that. Sheesh. I was saying like that was a good amount of things he said. Like that was a lot on the plate to chew. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking like that, man. All right, I wanted to say something, but now I probably done forgot it. But seriously though, I think what you were saying, I guess, is a.
I got about 2 minutes.
He got 2 minutes. All right, that's it. So, hey, real talk. I think what he said was really true. It's all about your perspective on it. So just keep believing and be true to yourself. End of the day, that's all you can do. So we out on that one. Mic check 1, 2.
We're all gonna die one day. So get it in.
Yes. Drink responsibly. And don't drink and drive.
Yes.
Hey, y'all be blessed. We love y'all. I know I do. I don't know. I want to speak for him.
I love y'all.
Yeah, hey, because love is love. That's why I don't judge the, alphabet people, as they say. Because it's like, hey, same thing with religion. What you do is what you do. Ain't gonna change what I do. Because I know what I do. So it's like, I like what I do. You see what I'm saying? So that's it.